Hello, and welcome to another episode of Greg Hughes' PUBCAST.
Hi.
And we are in a pub. Gin bar.
We're in the gin bar again in York. It's Circles Cafe and Gin Bar, and the fair Naz, who
Naz. Here's
to Naz. She's one of the.
She's boss.
She's the partner of the guy who owns it, who's an Irish fella, and they very kindly let us have this little snug to film in. A snug. So. It's been an interesting week. Yesterday, England beat the All Blacks in the rugby. Just wanted to say that. Big up for England.
Is this an England top?
This is an England rugby show.
Okay,
yes.
good.
Okay.
Not New Zealand.
The rugby is a game for men with odd-shaped balls.
Okay.
It's the egg chasers. It's not round balls.
So did they? How did Wales do today? Did they?
I haven't seen the result yet.
What?
Well, I've come to York to do this podcast.
If it's Wales versus England in the final, who are you going to support?
England, of course.
I'm going to support Wales.
Why?
Because I'm a traitor.
You turncoat. Well, we've all been called treasonous and treacherous.
Well, no, my surname is Hughes, which is a North Wales name originally, and so I do have Welsh ancestry. I'm from Liverpool, which is very close to Wales, and some of my family are Welsh.
Okay, so you're going to support Wales in a game that you've never watched.
Yeah.
In a tournament that you've never seen.
Yeah.
But it has been played in a country you've been to.
I did support England in 2003 when Johnny Wilkinson scored that goal, because that was really cool.
The thing is, we're not going to have the insufferable Kiwis ranting on about winning it the third time in a row, so that's a good thing.
Anyway, Brexit.
Can I show you? I've brought you a gift.
Have you got me a gift?
I've got you a gift.
What's
courtesy of Alan and Wendy Pond.
Oh, it's a little tiny trowel. Now, we were talking about bringing a shovel to this podcast.
We're walking through the centre of York.
Because Boris Johnson famously said he would rather be dead in a ditch than have an extension to Brexit. And essentially, there has been an extension. There is an extension. He's asked for an extension, although he didn't sign the letter, but he has asked for an extension.
He acted like a petulant child.
So we thought we'll dig him a ditch.
Yeah,
if he just fancied, I don't know.
A ditch.
A ditch, yeah.
Yeah, so...
But then I pointed out that, first of all, it would look a bit rum, us walking through the streets of York with a shovel. And also, I thought of a great line that the late, great Christopher Hitchens once said about some other flim flam artist who had just recently passed away. And he said if you gave him an enema before... He was so full of shit that if you gave him an enema before he died, you could bury him in a matchbox. So we've got a little trowel for our matchbox-sized Boris Johnson, because he is full of shit.
Yeah, okay, cool. So there you go. Thank you, Alan and Wendy Pond, for the trowel.
So, Boris Johnson has so far spaffed. Let's talk about his spaff. He's spaffed 100,000 up the wall on his mistress, on his fuck buddy.
No, that was... they now suspect 700,000.
Wow. £43 million of taxpayers' money on an invisible bridge.
The bridge that never existed, but they suppressed reports into the how effective it was going to be. Other studies, they suppressed all those reports.
And also we have 100,000 spaffed up the wall on Get Ready posters.
No, that's 100 million.
What did I say?
100,000.
Oh my word. Orders of magnitude out. £100 million taxpayers' money. On adverts
regarding Brexit.
Get ready for Halloween, because there's fuck all else happening.
But this year, Halloween is going to be known the world over as the year that Halloween happened again.
So 11 million on minting 500 million 50 pence coins that had the date the 31st of October 2019 on them.
It's just a vanity project. Boris is famous for these vanity projects, isn't he?
He was.
Because the Boris bikes in London, they weren't down to him.
The Emirates line, the very unprofitable cable car that goes over London, over the Thames. I mean, I've been on it, I have to say. I do all the tourist stuff. I always make an effort to try and do that, but it was empty, and it's just for tourists. It's not something that you can use as a commuter. Why would you?
It's a way
stupid.
Yeah, a complete waste of money.
Well, no, it's a good advert for Emirates, I guess. That airline from another country.
That airline from another country that suppresses women's rights.
Oh yeah, and basically has people working there as indentured servants.
Like a lot of those countries out there.
Yeah.
So,
Anyway, we're talking about how much money Boris Johnson's spaffed up the wall. But these are the headlines. Do you know how much his deal has cost Britain in terms of money that he said that we don't want?
the trillion?
No, they're assets that have already
sorry.
left. That was before his tenure.
Oh, sorry, 130 billion.
What's that for?
That's money that has been taken out of the economy.
Yeah, no, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking specifically about the European Investment Bank.
Oh,
we were supposed to get £7 billion of dividends from the European Investment Bank.
But we didn't.
And we've said, no, we don't want it.
£7 billion?
£7 billion dividends.
That's 2 billion shy of what we actually pay per year to the EU. Isn't it?
Yeah, we pay £9 billion a year. I say he doesn't want it. He just wants out. He just wants out. He's like someone who's getting a divorce and is just like, I don't care. I will live under an archway. I live in a street, a shop doorway. I just want out of this relationship.
Yeah.
But for a lot of us, it's not even his relationship. It's like him going up to you and saying, I don't want you to be with your husband anymore. I don't want you to be with your wife anymore. I want you out. And it's like, what's this got to do with you?
I know.
We want to stay together.
Yeah.
You know?
I can't believe the amount of money that we have wasted on
Wasted.
this. Wasted.
After 10 years of austerity, after 10 years of being told we don't have the money for child bereavement services in Liverpool, to pay our nurses enough so they don't have to go to food banks, to make sure that every child has food in their belly.
To take 20,000 police officers off the...
Yeah, 20,000 police officers off the force. And then Boris Johnson's like, we're going to put 20,000
back.
But the ones you took away, mate, yeah.
Yeah, so, yeah. But people are suckered in by this. I mean, people are...
Yeah.
I mean, what happened last week? I mean, we were in London. Hi to everyone who came and seen us and all that kind of stuff. And I must say we had quite a bit of fun, didn't we? I mean, apart from when we thought your camera had been nicked.
Yeah, a little bit weird.
You were a little bit upset then, wasn't you? I had to give him a little cuddle.
No.
But but we had a really good time in London. But Oliver Letwin, the Letwin amendment, said that he had to delay Brexit, basically, didn't he?
Yeah.
And to which he immediately said, we're not going to delay Brexit, we're going to carry on and basically break the law.
Yeah.
And then later on that evening, he sent 3 letters, 3. One saying, here's a letter I don't want to send. One was an unsigned photocopy of the letter in the Ben Act.
Yeah.
And a third one was saying, I don't know, love and kisses or something. What was the third one? It was so random. I mean, but people are suckered in by this. You know, I can't understand why people are suckered in by this.
I can, because they've been brainwashed.
They've been
told lies for the last 30 years. If you're told for like decades that something is your enemy, and then us dickhead remoaners turn up and go, oh, well, actually, they're not our enemy at all. They're our friends. People are like, get out.
Yeah.
Get out.
Yeah.
Do you know what they've done to us? They made us not have blue passports, and they made our bananas straight.
Oh, yeah. Or the best one that Richard Corbett told us, and I think it had to be edited out of the video we did with Richard Corbett because there was an insect crawling on the screen or something. But he was telling us, or it may be in the video, but he was telling us that the EU was going to standardise condom sizes and.
That was one of the fake headlines that I read out in my video where I talk about these Euro myths.
Yeah.
A lot of which were made up by Boris Johnson.
Yes, because he
was a journalist.
He was the Brussels correspondent for which rag?
And the Telegraph.
The Torygraph, which is up for sale if anyone wants
to
buy it.
Anyone want to buy the Telegraph? Anyone want to buy the profits are down 94%.
4%.
What a shame. Yeah. My heart bleeds for the billionaire Barclay brothers who own it.
Who own the Ritz as well.
Who spend their time between the Channel Islands and Monaco because they don't want to have to pay tax like the rest of us plebs.
Yeah, the proletariat.
Yeah. So we've had this week we had Stephen Barclay lying about live animal exports.
You can tell when he's lying because his mouth's moving.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
I've done a couple of videos about that, and also we had Question Time coming up to South Shields and finding like every single Brexiteer in the town and basically putting them in the studio on that day.
And people wonder why I call the BBC the Brexit Broadcasting Corporation. I mean, it's just absolutely disgraceful. Yeah, have you put those videos up?
Yeah.
So look out for those on YouTube. He's a lot more active than me at the moment in this kind of thing because A, he has the facilities, and B, I'm working on site somewhere in the northwest.
I also have the mad skills.
He's modest with it as well.
Mad skills. Anyway, but if you are watching this, it's not easy doing this as a full-time career, as a full-time job, because you don't really get paid. So if anyone wants to go to my Patreon account, it's just below us in the link here, and patronise me. I don't often ask people to patronise me, but no. But if you fancy sponsoring me to continue making these videos and continue making them, I will, one way or another. So I was sent a video yesterday by our friend Kieran the van driver.
Hi, Kieran.
Now, this video wasn't actually shot by Kieran, it's shot by a friend of his, but what I'll do is shove up a little bit and I'll put it on this side of the video here. So here we go. We're watching it on my laptop here. So what this is the M20.
So the M20 goes from basically London down to Dover. It goes past Folkestone, so it goes past the Channel Tunnel Terminal, and then you end up in Dover, and from there you can sail to Calais or Dunkirk.
Yeah. So basically, the left lane of the motorway here, we can see. Actually, is it double? Is that double, or is that just?
They've got the shoulder. I've seen on a couple of gaps in these trucks, the shoulder is actually coned off for some reason. But there are sections of this that are 2 lanes and sections that are 3 lanes. But
so this is difficult
to see with that. Is a huge traffic jam.
These are essentially Britain's exports. So this is all of the stuff that is all of our stuff.
Yeah, that's a 2-lane section. Yeah.
So is that a 2-lane section of motorway?
That's a 2-lane section. Well, that might actually be beyond the M20 because it changes from the A20 into the A20, I think. Just as
the M20 into the A20.
Yeah.
So this looks like this doesn't look like motorway to me. This looks like an A road.
It looks like an A road, but it does change as you're approaching Dover. I think you go through a tunnel and it changes then. But
it just keeps going, mate. It just keeps going. It just keeps going. Don't think this is going to end anytime soon. It's just going to keep...
Yeah, because people who say just get it done, whatever it is, 31st of October won't stop that. It won't stop Brexit, whether it happens or not. This is going to roll on and on and on. This is definitely the A20 that's heading down into Dover there.
Yeah, you can see Dover. You can see going towards. So this is going into our biggest and most important port. I mean, some of these trucks will actually be Irish, and they use the UK as a land bridge to go from Anglesey down to Dover.
Or trucks from anywhere in Europe carrying goods from Ireland.
Should I explain? It's a lot quicker to transport goods over on through using roads, or especially railways. Railways are the best way to do it.
But
unfortunately, we ripped up 2/3 of our rail network in the 60s.
Thank you, Dr. Beeching.
For no good reason. 6,000 miles of railway we had in 1950. And by 1970, we had about 2,000 left.
It's ridiculous, isn't it?
Sickening, absolutely sickening. Anyway, back to our traffic jam here. It's still going.
Still going.
Not stopping. These are hundreds and hundreds of trucks that are waiting to leave our country with British goods, mostly.
Yep.
That someone in another country has given us money for. And this is what we're doing. We're delaying them and making sure that our customers don't get their stuff on time. We're going to make them pay more if we go to WTO tariffs.
How is that taking back control?
Well,
it isn't.
Yeah. Well, I see it as like someone who has serious mental health problems taking back control by not taking their medication.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, I can get what you're getting out there, but it's not going to help you.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, it's just... So, we're going to continue going down into Dover here. And it is just... It's mind-boggling that people want this.
Because the government has also, this week, they have implemented Operation Yellowhammer in effect, haven't they? They have implemented no-deal planning.
What a waste of money.
Waste of money.
What an absolute waste.
For then,
making all these lorries just queue up.
Oh, and the environmental impact on those all just idling there is just shocking, really, isn't it?
If you have a reefer, which is the refrigerated truck, then you have to keep the engine running, basically. You have to keep the generator running.
There's got to be something running to keep the...
You're burning diesel, usually. But yeah, they just keep going, mate. Just keep it's got a little bit hypnotising, isn't it?
It's like a car crash in slow motion for me. It's like, wow. I mean, who was that? There was some dude there.
No, just standing at the side of the road. Right, I think we're coming to the end of it. Yeah, the end of this roundabout here.
So that's entering Dover there.
Yeah. So that's it. That's the queue to get on the boat.
No, that isn't. That's the queues to get into the town of Dover.
Wow.
That is just staggering.
Phenomenal. So, what do you think? Have I persuaded you that Brexit's a really good idea?
The more and more I see. And it's interesting, actually, because I've been working with some young lads from Middlesbrough, they're my technicians on site, and they're about 21, 22. So they were 18 when the referendum happened.
Yeah.
And it was the first time they'd ever voted. And every single one of them has said, oh, I voted to leave, but I didn't know what I was voting for. And I said, how would you vote now? And they said, well, we'd vote to stay because, we're losing his rights, we're losing
money.
Families
are being torn apart.
We're not getting work in Europe as much as we used to. Yeah. Things like that. They now feel better informed than what they were at the time of the referendum.
Yeah.
And you still get Nigel Farage and what's the chairman of the Brexit Company Limited called? Tim
Farage?
No, the chairman.
Tim Weatherspoons? Tim Nice but Dim?
Tim Nice but Dim, that's
Tim
him.
Nasty
but
and
he,
Dim.
he was on Channel 4 News the other night and it's just...
Richard
Tice. And
got there in the end.
He was just ranting on the same old claptrap as what they came out with in 2016. But they've got no suggestions on how to do this. And it's as James O'Brien says, as you end up reading the small print, which is what Bozo Johnson wanted, he didn't want any of this to be scrutinised, the more it falls apart. And I voted to remain purely because I thought one day I want to retire in France.
Selfish,
that was it.
I was selfish bastard.
I was being a selfish Ramona.
Why do you want to have a nice time when you're old? Why don't you stay here where it's cold and you
well, I'll be all right. I can go back to Australia if I want. But, it
does get cold in Australia,
Not where I lived. No. But, and I just think, why... that's why I voted for it. And then since it all went the way it went, the more I've looked at it, Graham, the more I've found that it's a lie. It literally is a lie. And Bozo Johnson wanted to ram the most important legislation that this country has ever implemented since probably the Second World War. In fact, it's probably more important, in terms of the effect that it's going to have. Bozo Johnson wanted to ram it through just because he wanted to avoid any scrutiny.
Yeah. Well, the things like the European Investment Bank dividend that he said he doesn't want. I mean, honestly, it is like getting someone who's an absolute idiot to go and buy a used car.
Yeah.
Sending someone, here you go, have as much money as you need.
Here's £20,000 for a second-hand car.
Go and get a second-hand car, but I don't know anything about cars. Oh, don't worry about it. Just take my money, and we get what we get. I want a new car. I don't care what it looks like. I don't care if it works. I don't care if
how it drives.
If it turns into a money pit or anything. I just don't care. Yeah. I just need a new car. Yeah. It's become very much like
it's not opening the bonnet of the car.
Yeah.
But it isn't, is it?
Yeah. But that footage from Question Time where every single person who seemed to be talking was mad about Brexit, it was just a repeat of the slogans, get it done, Brexit means, because it's simple, isn't it? It's simple and easy.
Yeah.
When you sit down with people and go, well, actually, it's costing us this, it's doing this, it's going to stop you doing this.
People get so angry when you point it out. It's like, you're like, and you can debunk half of this. I mean, the video you did with... about Steve Barclay, sorry, not with him, because I mean, if we did a video with him, he'd probably wear the drinks that were, but he, this is simple reading on the internet. We've got something called Google, and it's a lot easier now to get the real information than what it was when we were young. We used to have to wait for the daily newspaper to arrive, and we'd have to go to the library and take out something called a book. We didn't have a Kindle that we could download all of this stuff on.
I was explaining this to my stepdaughter the other day about like the process of finding out a fact, and it was what was the fact that I was trying to find out where Louis XIV's financial guy Mazarin, where he was born, and I went, right, so what you had to do, you had to get on the bus, go to the library, find a book about Louis XIV, right, the Sun King of France. So you'd have to find it. It had to be on the shelf. It might not be. Someone might have it out.
Or it could be in the library stores. And you'd have to book it out.
4 different books.
Yeah.
Then you had to go to the index of the book, and it would say Mazarin. It would have all the pages when he was mentioned.
And
there'd be about 2 dozen of them, and you would have to read every single one of those freaking pages.
And do you remember having to?
So you found out.
Do you remember having to check up old articles in newspapers, and even finding the books? Microfiche.
Yeah, I've done that in the library, scanning it.
And you're going.
So to the younger generation, microfiche is like basically a tiny little bit
aquatic beast.
It's a slide. It's a tiny little slide, and you look at it down like a microscope. And it's got all this writing in it that tells you that it's a reprint of all the papers. Because instead of a newspaper, so instead of having all these newspapers stacked up in the library, you could just have a drawer full of microfiche, and it would be...
Yeah, but you'd be able to find books in some of the microfiche, and then you'd be able to go back to the times in 1914 on the day the First World War was declared or something, and you want to read the headline, you get it, and you've got this massive screen about that big, and it was that
Control F. And so back in the day, people had more of an excuse than they had today. Yeah. And yet back in the day, people seemed a lot more sensible.
They seemed to be, yeah.
Is that just me?
Yeah.
I mean, we're in the Question Times in South Shields, and they've got this American woman who's from a think tank, whatever they are, right? And she's espousing all this Thatcherite pro-Brexit crap, and the people in South Shields are like, yeah, great. Thatcher destroyed the Northeast.
Yes, she did.
She came in like a wrecking ball, and now they're doing it again with Brexit, and she's like, and they're all like, amazing, please
bring it on. It's just astounding. So anyway, I think today is an anniversary. It's 97 days since Bozo became Prime Minister. Right.
That would be an anniversary, would it?
Well, it's an anniversary.
Anniversary was only once a year.
Well, we can't do 100. Well, yes, it is. All right, thank you. But it's 100 days, nearly, since Bozo Johnson became PM. Right. How many votes has he won in Parliament?
1?
3.
Okay.
There was one about an environmental thing, which was quite a minor thing.
Yeah.
And he's got the Queen's speech approved. Okay. So, in these 97 days, has he told a single truth?
No.
He's told one.
Oh, okay. Go.
I'm
crap at this game.
It was good. Remember when I did that game when we had Judy or Julie?
Oh, yeah.
I should do one of them again. Judith, yeah. I should do one of them again. But the one truth he's told was that people would have the whip removed if they voted against the government, and he got rid of 21. Yeah. That's the one truth.
He did.
Because he's now been proven to tell a lie, because he said, even if Brexit is delayed to the 2nd of November, he has not told the truth about taking this country out of the European Union on the 31st of October and being dead in a ditch.
After an enema.
But
so this week as well, the Lib Dems have been in the headlines for a couple of things. One of which was that you just mentioned the Queen's speech. There was a regret motion, which is where the opposition can put in basically a statement of regret that something wasn't included in the Queen's speech.
Right, yes.
And what the statement of regret was about the 2012 NHS Health Act. And essentially, it's grandstanding. It's basically saying this is a bad thing. Yeah, we know that we regret that this hasn't been updated and hasn't been looked at, because what they want to do is make sure that the NHS can't be sold to the Americans. See, the thing is, the Leader Labourship are in a bit of a bind because they want to protect workers' rights, they want to protect the NHS, but they also want Brexit. and it's like two ends of like a north and north pole of two magnets. It's just they just keep coming apart. You can't protect workers' rights and protect the NHS if we leave the NHS. If we leave the EU.
But that's the amazing thing, right? That 19 Labour politicians voted with the government this week on Brexit.
Yeah. Meanwhile,
then Kwasi Kwarteng has had to deny that they're going to destroy workers' rights, even because so the Labour Party, which historically has stood for people's rights and workers' rights and a lot of the good legislation like public holidays, you call them bank holidays here, don't you? And public holidays and safety at work and all that kind of good stuff. Equality for women in the famous Ford sewing machinist strike, that was under a Labour government, wasn't it? Barbara Castle?
I'm just going to keep nodding.
We'll have a watch of Made in Dagenham.
I'm going to you look it up on Google. But I think if people were watching me look this up on Google in real time, they'll get a bit bored. So, yeah.
But a lot of things that have come in have been brought in through the Labour Party and because of unions, and then the 19 Labour MPs. 4 of whom are quite close to me, Stephanie Peacock in Barnsley, Sarah Champion in Rotherham, awful, is it John Mann from Bassettler? Snake. And another one, the Beast of Bolsover, Dennis Skinner. They voted with the government.
Voted with Boris Johnson's government.
And
then it came out that a lot of them are members of Prosperity UK.
Well,
which is I think it's one of these think tanks.
A think tank.
A think tank. It's a pro-Brexit body in the UK that gets loads of money dumped on it, and basically those people that you just mentioned, I think, are all members of Prosperity UK.
Wouldn't surprise me.
It's a mad Tory, let's pay no tax, free, liberalised system where you don't actually have to, you let the market decide. It's that idea. That's how we get rich. We make the market decide. Again, we're going to just touch on, this is all stuff that's happened this week. So the Honda this week announced that it was moving forward its plans to end cars that were diesel or petrol only by 2022. So in 2 years, in just 2 years, because we're nearly at the end of this year, they are going to stop production of all of these vehicles worldwide. Because of the EU emissions laws.
Right.
Because the EU has the muscle to force companies to do that, even companies from Japan, like Honda.
Because
Japan
they want to sell
has
cars.
a massive trade deal with the EU.
And they want to sell cars into Europe. Nissan have announced that they are now considering selling their plant in Sunderland and their plant in Spain, to be fair. Well. But that will be a massive blow for the people of Sunderland. Which way did they vote?
Weren't Nissan, didn't they have a boat full of equipment that was coming to Sunderland, or was that Toyota?
I don't know.
There was a boat full of equipment. We'll have to get our Googles out and check it out.
Okay.
But yeah, they had a boat of equipment ready to update to move to electric cars production, and they turned it around because of Brexit.
That is just that I've not heard that, and that will be a get your Google out moment.
Yeah. But I'll try and put some information at the bottom here.
Yeah, please do. But I mean, so Nissan are talking about selling their plant in Sunderland to who? Nobody knows, because who's going to buy a plant in Sunderland if the UK Brexits?
Well, if you got the choice between the one in Spain and the one in Britain, why would you go for the one in Britain?
I wouldn't.
When the one in Spain means that you can get your parts in without a 10% tariff.
Free movement of goods, people, services, all of
capital,
that. And capital,
yeah. So there you go. That's something that the EU's done this week. That's
something else that's happening. And Britain is not getting the benefit of this because we're leaving the EU.
And I keep explaining this because one of the things that was said on that Question Time, and I don't watch Question Time for this very, very reason. I was on Question Time. Do you know this? I was on Question Time.
I never knew.
I was on Question Time back in 2001.
Blimey. That would have still been Robin Day, wouldn't it?
No, it was David Dimbleby, but I was up against William Hague.
Oh, blimey.
Would you like to see the clip?
Yeah.
Okay, play the clip.
Tonight, our audience here in Manchester, a cross-section of public opinion, challenge him and his policies. Under the usual question time rules, Mr. Hague hasn't been told what questions he's going to be asked, and the first one comes from Graham Hughes, who's in IT support. Mr. Hughes.
The general election is 2 weeks away.
Oh, is that you?
Your policies seem unpopular. Your party image is simply dreadful. You're 20 points behind in the polls. What are you going to do about it?
Well, thank you for that very encouraging start. And I do intend to keep working very hard over the next 2 weeks. I don't agree that the policy positions are not popular, because wherever I go around the country, I find that people are feel very let down about the last 4 years. They want to know what the alternative is, and I'm busy setting out the alternative. And the alternative is to hit crime hard, which it isn't being at the moment. It is to sort out the chaos in the asylum system, which it isn't being at the moment. It is to give people back some of the money stolen from them, taken from them in stealth taxes by Gordon Brown. It is to keep the pound. And it is to let the people in our public services actually do their job instead of endless interference and paperwork that prevents them doing their job. That's what we're going to do. That's what we're going to do.
It's a good answer on policy, but it's not the answer to the question Mr. Hughes asked.
Well, the answer is we're going to present our policy. That is the answer to Mr. Hughes's question. Now, if you're saying, is it possible with those policies, is it possible 2 weeks before an election to win an election, to make sure that we win the election? Well, yes, it is, because I sense around the country that millions of people have not decided how to vote, or indeed whether to vote. They are utterly fed up with the government. They want to hear what the alternative is. They haven't decided what to do. I think that makes the election wide open. And I think people who think it's all over now are being very complacent and very arrogant.
So what is your Murray and the other pollsters just asking the wrong people then?
Well, look at the posters. Look at the posters. Who knows who they are?
So that was quite a fresh-faced Graham there in that video.
Giving William Hague what for. And after that, the Tories weren't in power for another 9 years.
Had you actually sort of gone through puberty?
Yes, I had.
Look incredibly young. I think I've looked this old since I was about 12.
Exactly. Well, you had the beard, haven't you? But yeah, that was me on Question Time back in 2001, taking on William Hague. Yorkshireman.
You're a good Rotherham boy.
No, bad Rotherham boy.
No, he was a good, well, compared to the latest current crop of lunatics.
But I do know that if you apply to be on Question Time in the audience, you are asked if you voted one way or another in the referendum. You also asked who you voted for in the last election. And for me, do you know what I get to say for that?
What?
Me?
Oh, you voted for you?
Voted for myself. I stood as an MP.
Yeah, I remember you telling me. Yeah.
So.
Another person who is worthy of a mention for being on Question Time, who looked. I mean, if looks could kill, the panel would be they'd be full of dead men and women, because it was Cozy, who we did the video in Liverpool with, and she'd just been on Question Time, but she looked so angry. I thought she was going to kill
Did
people.
Did you get to ask a question?
Yeah, Cozy did.
Oh, well, that's fine. I'll stick it out and put it on YouTube.
Good old Cozy.
One of the things I've done this week as well is I've been looking for really good Brexit bouts on this thing that I've called Brexit Bowl.
Oh, yeah.
And so it's Jacob Rees-Mogg versus James O'Brien. It's
Kieran the van driver.
It's Femi, and when actually someone who knows what they're talking about takes on one of these flim-flam artists and actually just nails them to the wall.
Yeah.
And
I was on James O'Brien. You could put that clip on.
But you weren't having an argument with him, so I need to think of a different name for that playlist, because I've spoken to him a few times, and it's all been in agreement. So it's not really. You can't really call it Brexit Bowl, because it's almost like a anti-Brexit loving.
Yeah, no, that's
it isn't quite. That's the same ring.
No, that's right. I don't think I'll ever get to speak to Farage. Which would be nice.
Have you tried?
I keep trying from time to time.
What do they say? What do the producers say when you?
Well, I think they just ignore my calling.
You want to call in and say, I just want to tell Nigel how much I love him and how much I appreciate what he's doing. And when you get on,
just lay into him.
Yeah.
Or do it from a different phone.
A man whose wife was German, his mistress was French, his children spoke German and have German passports, and spoke German at home, and yet he got annoyed that people spoke foreign on the train.
On trains. Did you hear LBC on Friday? Some guy phoned in with a really posh, eccentric sounding accent, and basically accused James O'Brien for all his belly aching about Boris. He's a recruiting sergeant for Boris, and then said, you need to get on the train, James. And he kept saying it, and he said, you can't even pronounce Farage correctly. And then James O'Brien immediately sort of found a video clip of Farage or Farage saying, some people call me Farage, some people call me Farage, it depends how people pronounce it, garage or garage. So this total moron, you know. So
I'll have to listen to that.
It were pretty good. Anyway, so
but the thing is, right? I was going to just mention about the Lib Dems again because yesterday it came out in the news that they were teaming up with the SNP to try and force a general election for the 9th of December. I don't know how I feel about this.
or the 12th?
No, Boris Johnson wanted the 12th, but they want the 9th because then less students will be home. Because the problem is a student can only vote where they're registered. So they may be registered to register in their university
town.
They
may be registered at home. This is the chaos about it all. And the thing is,
I don't know why elections aren't on Sunday, and I don't know why you can't vote anywhere in the country.
Because in Australia, you go because of the nature of the itinerant workers there. I could be in Brisbane Airport, flying to a mine site in central Queensland, and I just go up and say, I'm from Western Australia, and...
But this isn't a requirement. I don't think it should be a requirement to have ID, but if you don't vote in your usual polling station, you take ID.
Yeah, I think that's fair enough.
And if you can say, right, well, my parents live in Liverpool, but I live in Durham, for instance. Here's an evidence that I live here, and that's put on a system to say I voted. It doesn't say who I voted for.
No.
But it says I have voted. So if I then got in my car, drove to Liverpool and tried to vote again,
it would
block me.
Because it would say you've already voted.
We have the technology.
Yeah.
Facebook has over 1 billion users, and we know their entire life story.
Exactly.
This is not outside the realms of popularity.
And it's an interesting point you said about producing ID.
But I don't want people to have to produce ID to vote.
This is something that's really criminal, in my opinion, that the government want to bring this in.
Yeah.
Because it will affect disproportionately the most vulnerable in our society.
Exactly.
So they will not be able to vote.
But they love
historically
that.
For the Labour Party.
Yeah.
But that's and the thing is, the Queen's speech was approved.
Yeah.
So plenty of Labour MPs support that idea.
Did the Labour MPs vote for the...
If you voted to approve the Queen's speech, that legislation is now going to be put towards the Parliament.
But I thought they just voted for the Brexit part of it. I didn't know they voted.
The Queen's speech has been approved.
Yeah, but... right. Did any Labour MPs vote for the Queen's speech?
Yeah, they must have, because Boris Johnson has a majority of minus 45. And minus 55 now, when you consider that he's really significantly annoyed the DUP. But yeah, I mean, they voted to... basically support Boris Johnson's government because he has a majority of minus 45. He's now upset the DUP by saying that he's going to, with his withdrawal agreement,
he knows
his
he doesn't
deal.
Need them. He knows he doesn't need them because he's got the Labour MPs on side.
Exactly.
For 19. Kate Hoey has said today, I think, that she's quite up for joining the Brexit Party.
That doesn't surprise me at all.
She won't rule it out.
Yeah,
which is basically the same thing.
Which is basically the same thing. And
I think she looks like Mason Verger from Hannibal. Is that really bad? I shouldn't say that, should I?
No, you
shouldn't judge people on how they look, but she's just
Mason Verger.
She's just not very nice, is she?
She isn't, is she?
So I think we get a letter. I think and Katie Hopkins, who looks like Zelda from the Terrorhawks.
I don't know who that is. I've never...
She was the witch in the Terrorhawks, which was a Jerry Anderson puppet.
Okay. So...
Back in the 80s, when I was a wee nipper.
Right, okay. Well...
back in the midst of time. Anyway, get off the point. But I want to call this video Brexit, Dead in a Ditch, ? To which I'm gonna answer no, I don't think it is. I still think we're going to Brexit.
On Halloween?
No.
No.
No. But I still
But
think we're
we
going
will.
to Brexit
Oh, of
because
course we will.
the Lib Dems and the SNP have got together and said, let's have this election, right? And we're gonna scupper Boris Johnson's plans for having an election by having it 3 days earlier. Who cares? I mean, I whatever. The problem is you're going to have what is a referendum topic, Brexit, decided by 35 to 40% of the electorate.
Yeah, I voted for Jo Swinson to become leader. I am now regretting that decision because she's just saying to stop Brexit, we've got to have a general election, even though Boris Johnson wants a general election and we tried to stop it last time. You know.
Yeah, but her wanting a general election and Ian Blackford wanting a general election wouldn't be necessarily a bad thing if Labour
had a decent leader.
A leader. No, a leader.
A leader, yeah.
Rather than
they have got a leader, but he's just crap.
He doesn't lead.
No.
What was the punishment for the 19 MPs who voted with the
Against the
Tories
West?
to destroy this country?
Nothing.
Nothing.
It's never. Kate Hoey's never had the whip removed. The only person who had the whip removed and then had it reinstated and then had it taken away because of public outcry was the anti-Semitic guy from Derby.
Oh yeah. The guy said it was all a big Jewish conspiracy. Nice, thanks for that, mate.
Yeah. Anyway.
So, what? The only way that we can stop Brexit is by Jeremy Corbyn resigning. It's the only way. If he doesn't do that, then we can't stop Brexit. We've got no chance.
Got no chance. But then again, he wants Brexit.
Yeah, so he's not going to.
So he's not going to.
But what about his fans, like that little pubeless creep from The Guardian, who absolutely think he's the God's gift to socialism?
That's the problem, isn't it?
Owen Jones.
Oh, yeah.
Grow some pubes, Owen.
Man up.
He blocked me. He blocked me for making a joke on Twitter about anti-Semitism.
Yeah, because you were actually being sarcastic about the anti-Semitic.
Well, what it was he wrote a tweet about being in Amsterdam. And I said, I wrote something along the lines of, well, remember to tell Anne to stay in the attic until Corbyn's not leader anymore.
Yeah.
He didn't like that.
No.
But I stand by it because Jeremy Corbyn's an anti-Semite.
Yes.
If he was an anti-Semite, it'd be really easy to prove you're not an anti-Semite.
Yeah, exactly.
It's very, very easy. No one has ever accused me of being an anti-Semite.
No, mate.
Ever in my life.
No, I've never been accused of being racist or anti-Semitic or...
Do you know how you get around that? You just don't be.
It's pretty easy, isn't it? You know,
you don't want to be accused of murder. Try not to murder people.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. It helps.
Yeah.
What can I say? It helps.
Well,
So where are we now? We are stuffed.
We're still in York.
Sorry.
Yeah.
We're stuffed. So Jo Swinson and the SNP have basically kippered us because they've gone right. We're gonna push for this election. An election is going to destroy. I mean, look at the opinion polls that came out today. Tories on 40%, the Brexit bloody party on 10%, the Labour on about 24%.
Yeah, I sent you an article yesterday from The Guardian that reiterates what you've been saying for weeks in these videos and when we were on stage in London.
Years, mate, years.
Yeah, no, but certainly the last few weeks is in that Jeremy Corbyn's approval rating is -60.
-60, disapproval rating.
And this article was talking about...
Is that an approval rating? It's a disapproval rating.
I mean, come on.
Worse than Trump's.
I mean, yeah.
And yet the people who think that he's the Messiah say that, no, we've got to change everybody's minds. Talk about pissing into the wind. How are you going to change everybody's minds?
You can't. You know.
We could change leader... or change the minds of millions.
Yeah.
What's easier? What's more practical?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if you'd got a member of staff who was saying you worked for your company and your company sold Post-it notes, and you're marketing them as Post-it notes and saying these are really good Post-it notes, but your sales rep is going out and saying don't buy these Post-it notes because they're really crap.
I've been very clear.
You'd get rid of that member of staff. You wouldn't,
Well, exactly.
You wouldn't change your Post-it notes, would you? And you wouldn't change your customers. You'd apologise and buy them a bottle of wine and do all that. I've done marketing.
I said this at the rally last week. I think that if we are when we're taking out the EU, because I think it is inevitable.
It is inevitable. We
have to campaign to rejoin.
Yeah,
that's going to be our job for the next 30
years, you know.
Thanks to that, dickheads.
Imagine the size of the camera that you'll be able to get by then, you know, it'd be tiny.
Well, probably about the size of a GoPro.
Yeah.
The GoPro is 4K, so this is 4K. This
right, yeah, okay. Yeah. So
8K is coming up.
So we were on television.
Were we?
Yes, we were on Russian television.
Was I on the telly?
We were interviewed by that Russian TV news reporter. So if anyone can
forget about that,
if anyone can find
Russian. They've got subtitles in Russian saying, we think Boris
Johnson is great.
Dear leader Boris. He's called Boris, for God's sake. A bit of a giveaway that he's working for the Russians.
If you're watching this in Russia and you know what that channel is, Privyat, Spasiba, and Do Svidaniya.
I don't know what that means, but yes. So also
hello,
this week
we
had Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, one of our favourite people in the world, taking on one of our least favourite people in the world. What's his name? Hans Zimmerman. No. What's the guy who did Facebook?
Zuckerberg.
That's the one. Zuckerberg. Mark Zuckerberg.
And
the other guy's a movie composer.
Right, okay.
No, Mark Zuckerberg, and asking him when he knew about Cambridge Analytica stealing people's data.
Yeah.
And here we have the one of the most powerful people in the world saying, "Oh, I don't know," and he's all twitchy and all weird about it, and one of the things that I just don't get, and I'd love someone in the comments who's got a friend or a relative that works for the MI5 or MI6 to let me know, why aren't we doing this back to the Russians?
I don't know. That's a good...
Google's ours. Facebook is ours. It's the West. It's NATO's. The internet is a NATO internet.
It's a British invention.
The global positioning satellite to use on Google Maps, put up there by the American military, right?
Yeah.
Why? And I don't think there's any kind of equivalent of Facebook or Twitter in Russian. They use the American platform.
Yeah, there's an equivalent of...
Why aren't they doing like some massive disinformation thing about Putin? Actually, it wouldn't be disinformation, it'd just be information.
Yeah.
Putin's a horrible person.
But there is a Facebook equivalent in China, isn't there?
Yes.
Because they block...
Yeah, they block Facebook.
The Great Firewall of China.
But everyone just gets a VPN together.
Yeah, exactly. People... I don't know why we're not doing it. I mean, Putin is a really nasty...
He's horrible.
Yeah, I mean,
and he is
KGB.
He is funded this really... they call it asymmetric warfare, because they're attacking us, and all we're doing is putting out fires, rather than actually attacking them back in cyberspace, which we could easily do.
Exactly.
Because we run the freaking internet.
Yes, a British invention again, yeah.
Well, by we, I mean NATO.
Yeah, but yeah.
I keep going back to NATO because it's really, really important that people understand that 22 members of NATO are also members of the EU. This is huge. They're our allies. Stop thinking they're our enemies. You're being lied to by the Russians. You're being manipulated by the Russians.
And they're using the tools of the Daily Mail, the Daily Express, the Sun, and
Telegraph,
the Torygraph.
And BBC Question Time.
And the BBC now, yeah. Well, the BBC in general, you know, because, I mean, I was stopping watching Question Time while Dimbleby was still on it. But the first one I watched was with Fiona Bruce. It had Jacob Rees-Goebbels on it. And she was basically, I thought she was going to jump his bones. She was all over him like a rash. I mean, you could see, I mean, I used to like her, but, you know, you could see she just loved him, you know, and I just think, you know, absolutely horrible, you know, lies and disinformation spread, you know, and these people, and have you ever noticed how the people who are putting across the reasoned arguments and things like that, they're immediately shouted down by Brexit supporting frog-eyed loons like Farage. You know, they're immediately just shouted down. Nobody... And this happens in general society now, you know. In the workplace, I generally don't talk about it because all of a sudden, you might have one or two of you who support Remain, and might have one or two who I still don't know, I don't understand about it, and blah blah blah. But all of a sudden, you're engulfed by like a large number of. They turn into rabid dogs, It's absolutely horrible, and it's not going to stop when the UK leaves the EU, with or without the withdrawal agreement being agreed. It's not going to stop because it's only just beginning.
That's a really good point. It is not going to stop.
No.
It is not. People think that Brexit's going to be done at some point. Get Brexit done. Brexit
not.
will rumble on for 30 years.
Yeah.
If we leave. The only way to stop it is by...
Not leaving.
But,
okay, we've been campaigning for a people's vote and all this kind of stuff. And people are now claiming the lie that they've been fed by people like Farage that we knew what we were voting for. Yeah. Every single piece of propaganda issued by Vote Leave, Be Leave, Leave EU, whoever, all of it said, we'll leave with a deal. We'll not invoke Article 50 until we've agreed the deal.
And there will be no change. This is from the... go away. This is from the actual the Leave propaganda thing during the referendum. It said there'll be no change in the rights of EU citizens living here. Don't worry, it said. It won't affect your Spanish wife. It won't affect your Polish friends. It won't affect your
Portuguese mother-in-law or
whatever. It won't affect them. That's fine, okay? Right. This is the government's own figures. Since January 2019, over 609,800 EU citizens living here have been denied full settled status.
I know. And when you look at the history of under Theresa May and her hostile environment and what she did to the Windrush generation, I've got no faith in these utter charlatans doing anything that's the right thing for them. I mean, when they started banging on about it, they were going to start charging them £60 to apply.
I think I'll do a thing, because I was thinking about this when you were talking about the way that people can just say what they like and no one comes back on them. And it's because people like me and Adam are forced to make videos on YouTube. I didn't go to the right school, and neither did Adam, to be able to go on TV.
Question time.
And actually answer these questions and actually put these statements out there.
Yeah.
We don't know the right people. I mean, it's all about what you know. So who you know.
Who you know.
Rather than what you know.
Yeah, it's who's who in the zoo.
I was thinking I should do a little video series called What I Would Say.
Yeah.
and basically I'll edit myself into, the way I did with that Dragon's Den thing. I looked like I was in the studio with them in the warehouse.
Yeah.
Do that. So I'm like sitting on a question time panel, and I'm answering the questions from the audience rather than just going,
Brexit's going to be great, get it done, whatever. Brexit means Brexit.
Yeah. Or just not responding at all. And one of the questions I would like to ask when people are confronted with this statistic about EU citizens' rights and the fact that these citizens' rights have just been
eroded,
taken away.
Yeah.
And it's like, how can you be so cruel? How can you rip?
But then we're living in
babies from their mothers.
We're living
because their mother was born in a different country.
We're living in a society that is now wanting to go very Trump-esque, and Trump is putting babies in cages.
Yeah, and burning children with white phosphorus in.
He's facilitated.
He's also dropped the sanctions against Turkey.
Oh, it's just awful, And people think he's a good man.
Oh, well, this is why I just burnt my bridges with everyone who voted Trump when he did it.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
I had a lot of American friends, but I'm sorry, to vote for that. Brexit is a little bit more excusable because people were lied to, but Trump, he was open. Exactly what it said on the tin.
Yeah.
He said, I am going to be horrible. I am going to make people's lives a fucking misery.
Yeah. I
am going to just go out there and destroy industry, business, families. I'm going to tear people's lives apart. And he's done it.
To make America great again.
People have died. People have died under his watch.
Yeah.
But he's
Trump
done
is an
that.
absolute snake, isn't he? And it's just absolutely depressing how he's kicked to the curb. The
point
Kurds again. I mean,
The very good idea that the framers had of the Constitution in America, they said, we can't make impeachment easy, because if it's easy, then every time there's a partisan issue, and this is back in the days when the two sides were killing each other, literally killing each other. So, well, we don't want it so that the Democrats take over the Senate and the House of Representatives, and then they kick out a president just because they don't like him. We've got to make that bar pretty high.
Yeah, which is fair enough.
So what it is, if you want to impeach a president, which is basically to put him on trial, you first of all have to get a simple majority in the House of Representatives, the lower house. Then it goes on trial, and you actually have the trial in the Senate. The Senate has to give a 2/3 majority. There's 100 people in the Senate, so it's a 66 of the senators have to say, yeah, let's get rid of this guy in order for it to happen.
Yeah.
So it will be all the Republicans, which is 48 of them, or 49, and then it will have to be at least 17 or 18 Republicans. Now the question is, are these Republicans going to put their country first, or are they going to put their party first?
It's usually party, isn't it?
Well, we're seeing it in the UK.
Yeah.
Labour, Conservatives, even the Lib Dems, the SNP, they all seem
first. Yeah.
nuts about their party first attitude. And this is the difficulty of this is where we are in any society that treats politics like football.
And
Or in your case, rugby.
That's exactly right.
You went to the posh school.
Wickedly comprehensive, yeah, he's right up there with Eton, and Harrow,
Joking.
And
rugby.
Oh, rugby. Let's see what you did there.
Yeah, did you like that?
I did, yeah.
He hates me.
I don't hate you.
We're laughing, but we're crying inside.
Yeah, but he's. I don't hate him, right? I mean, we're very good friends. I mean, people actually congratulated us on our being on the stage and say we've got this natural rapport.
I think so.
I'm yet to see it.
I'll tell you what. Whenever you're in one of my videos, my ratings just go like my views go up
That's
through the roof.
That's my admirer in Thailand.
Watch them whenever again.
That's my one friend in Thailand who thinks I'm cute.
No, unique.
No, he said cute.
No. I'm saying this is unique views. You can't. If it's just one user, because when YouTube first came out, right? You could just put an auto refresh program on your browser, right, and refresh the page every couple of seconds.
But now it
and
works
leave it overnight, and you'd wake up in the morning and you'd have like 50,000 views, and you'd be like, "Whoa, I'm really popular."
But you're not.
You see that on MySpace. Do you remember MySpace?
No.
MySpace was a platform that was a bit of a precursor to Facebook, but it allowed you to do your own page. This is halfway between a web page and having a Facebook page, which is all. The format's all set, but you can populate it with what you want, whatever content you want. The funny thing about MySpace is that it was bought by Rupert Murdoch.
Oh, was it?
And then it was sold for about 50p.
Oh, right.
And he lost like $500 million on it.
Nice. Well, can I just talk, just for a minute, before we wind up, about what we did on stage last week in London, right? So we were on the stage at the bottom of Downing Street, and we had Maddie, EU Supergirl there, Joel Bacchus, we had Drew Goldran, our very own Phobo Joe, who was very, very popular. I mean, people loved watching. I think he's terrific.
He's so entertaining.
He is that entertaining.
He's Boris Johnson, but he can sing and dance.
Yeah.
You're going to love that.
When he was singing I Want to Be Like You from the Jungle Book, but it was in the style of Boris Johnson. I thought I was just howling with laughter. But big thanks to everyone who came and bought us a coffee. Harry, I remember Harry bought me a coffee. Didn't get him one. I'm not too keen on the chap who bought him a cider and didn't buy me one, but thanks. He says thank you. Big thanks to Graham for actually buying us beer, because we are blokes from PUBCAST.
Anyway, well, thanks for coming along. It was really, really good to see so many people.
Yep.
all this really positive vibe, and we've got to keep this going because, we need to accept that Brexit is probably going to happen.
It's likely to happen.
And when it does, we are going to campaign to rejoin the EU. We're not going anywhere.
Campaigning to remain to campaign to rejoin.
Britain is now the home of the biggest pro-EU movement in the world.
I know, that's something to be very proud of.
Thanks, Brexit.
Okay, right, thanks, Graham.
Yeah,
and a big thanks again to Circles Circles Cafe and Gin Bar in York.
Get it right.
And the fair Naz and her partner who constantly let us have the snug.
And thanks to you for watching. And in the meantime, let me just say, here's the EU.
Here's to the EU.